Hi everyone, I'm Mrs. D. Priyadarshini, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science with Cybersecurity. Today we are going to discuss about user-defined functions in C. How to pass values to the user-defined function. There are three types of passing values to the function. One is pass by value, pass by address and pass by reference. Today we are going to discuss about how we can pass the values using arrays to the function and pointers to the function. Passing arrays to function. Like the values of a normal variable, it is also possible to pass the values of an array to functions. To pass one-dimensional array to a called function, it is sufficient to list the name of the array without any subscript or a superscript and the size of the array as an argument to pass a one-dimensional array to the called function. The function whichever it is calling for execution is called a called function, and the function which helps to execute is called a callee function. For example, the call largest is the function name, and we are going to call the largest by passing just the argument a comma n. Will we pass the whole array A to the called function. The called function expecting this call must be approximately defined. The largest function header might look like this. Float largest float array of int size. The array specifies the number of index or the values which is stored in an array. Int size represents the index of the array. The declaration of the formal argument array is made as follows. Float array of. The bracket which specifies nearby the array is to specify the number of array it is going to hold or the number of values. Array is the name of the array which is declared with the data type float. Here is an example program. Float greatest float of a comma int n. We are going to pass the float of a value to the greatest of the function. It consists of four values 2.5, minus 4.75, 1.2 and 3.67. Because it is declared as a float, we can pass any decimal values to the greatest of function, which prints the value whichever it is greatest among all the four. But here we are going to print all the values whichever it is passed towards the function greatest. Here the passing of the array to function which can capable of executing with the for loop for I is equal to 1, I less than n and I plus plus. Here we are going to calculate which is the greatest of the number what we have passed as the four values. It receives the value in the float of a and it is going to check for the maximum value among the a values, that is among all the four values. If it is the greatest, by finding the value by comparing each and every value with the previous value, and resultant the maximum value will be returned by the greatest function to the calling function. Passing array to function. When the function called greatest value comma 4 is made, that is 4 value we are going to pass to the greatest function, and the greatest function will evaluate and express which is the maximum of the given 4 values, and the resultant fourth value, that is the greatest value, will be returned towards the main function. The largest function finds the largest value in the array and returns the result to the main function. The function must be called by passing only the name of the array. In the function definition, the formal parameter must be an array type. The size of the array does not need to be specified. That is, when we are not having a defined size of an array, it is better to avoid by specifying the size of the array. Because when we have an unmatched size of an array, while calling the function or by passing the value as a function to an array, the type mismatch will be caused as an array. The function prototype must show the arguments in an array. The technique used to pass data from one function to another is known as parameter passing. It can be done in two ways, that is pass by value or pass by reference. But that pass by reference can be done through the pointers. In pass by value, the value of actual parameters are not executed or expressed when it get any changed. But in case of pass by value by pointers, the changes whatever it is made will be reflected in the main function. The called function works on the copy and not on the original value of the actual parameter. This ensures that the original data in the calling function cannot be changed accidentally. In pass by pointers, pass by value, that is address, the memory address itself, it is not going to take a copy unless the change of the value happens in the memory itself. So whatever they change in the subfunction will also be reflected in the main function in the case of pass by pointers. In this case, the called function directly works on the data in the calling function, and the changed values are available in the calling function and also in the memory where it is used. Pass by pointers method is often used when the manipulating arrays and strings. This method is also used when we require multiple values to be returned by the called functions. I hope you understand all the topics of the function call, pass by value and pass by array. Thank you.